Have you ever wanted to make a midi skirt? If so, this is the video for you, hopefully. I think you probably need like just a little basic knowledge of sewing, like how to use a sewing machine. That's it. As long as you know how to use a sewing machine, I think you should be fine following this tutorial. So I'm going to be using a skirt that I already own, and I'm going to create a midi skirt from said skirt. And I would recommend using jersey fabric. It's nice and stretchy, really easy to work with. And I'd also recommend using a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. And before you start, I would take just a little tester of your fabric and I'd sew some zigzag stitches onto it, and I'd make sure that you've got the tension set just right on your sewing machine, because if the tension is too tight when your midi skirt stretches, it will break the stitches, and if it's too loose, it's gonna not look very good. So go ahead, do that, come back, and then I can show you how to make a midi skirt. So to start, you want to fold the fabric and get it as flat as possible. Any wrinkles in the fabric will affect the shape of what you cut. And then just for reference, this is a skirt that I already own and then a pattern piece. And this is the bit of elastic you'll be using for the waistband. So I've just laid those out flat just to show you. I've folded the skirt that I own in half. You can see the pattern piece flares out slightly more. And that's what we're going for with the midi skirt. So if you have like a straight mini skirt, you want to just flare it out like this pattern piece, because then you'll get that nice flowy skirt for the midi skirt. And then of course you want to lay the elastic at the top, because this will give you the space to account for it when we go to sew everything together later. Yep, like I said, just following the angle of the pattern straight down. Or rather on a diagonal. I'm using a rotary cutter to cut the fabric, but you could just use scissors, it doesn't really matter. If you are using a rotary cutter, just make sure you have something underneath so you're not cutting straight onto the floor. And then I'm just laying down and kind of figuring out where I want the skirt to be. And here I have my cat here to help me. Now that I'm cat free, you just can see I'm marking out the length that I want, and this will just be like a rough guide for me to guess where to cut to. And with the cutting, I'd recommend you take your time, just because, you know, you only get one shot really, so don't rush it.
Huh?
Just then repeat this for the other side of the dress. Obviously you want a front piece and a back piece. I like to lay the first piece that I cut on top of the folded fabric again, so that you get an identical cut. Now you just want to take your two pieces, the front and the back piece, have them pretty sides facing. So this is the nice pattern side of the fabric facing the other nice pattern side of the fabric, and just do a zigzag stitch down both sides of the skirt, top to bottom. As you can see, it is not the same day, different clothes, no more awful nail varnish. What I did was, I sewed the sides up together. I put it pretty side to pretty side, and I sewed the sides up together using a zigzag stitch, because it's jersey fabric, so the zigzag allows it to stretch. And then I went downstairs to try it on, had a quick lie down, because anyone who's done sewing knows that quick lie downs are essential to keeping you going. And then my cat lay on my stomach. The rules are the rules. If a cat lies on your stomach, you have to just let them keep lying on your stomach. Like, I don't make the rules, I just follow them. So this is where I'm at. I have my skirt sewed up at the sides. So what I'm going to do now is a second zigzag stitch all the way down the seam allowance, and this is so that the edges won't fray, because I don't have an overlocker machine because they are so expensive. So I'll do that. Then I'm going to hem this, but for now, zigzag stitch down the sides. Once you've locked in those zigzag stitches, I'm just showing you here that I am hemming the top of the dress by just rolling it over once or twice. It depends on what you think looks best. I think I only did it once, and then I zigzag stitched again across the top to give it a nice hem, and this will just stop it fraying around the elastic. I knew I had to make you mine. Wanted to know everything about you. I didn't want to waste no time. After that, just take your elastic, place it against the hem, and then fold the hem over towards the inside of the skirt, and make sure that you leave enough room so that the elastic can sit comfortably inside that new channel that you're making. I would recommend not sewing with the elastic inside, because obviously you can accidentally go onto the elastic and sew, but I did that because I like to live on the edge. But I promise you for sure, girl, my love is always yours. Something's changed, baby, this I know. Summer rains turn to winter snow, but I promise you for sure, girl, my love is always yours. I love your style, and I love your grace. Said I love to put a smile on your pretty little face. I love it when you're close to me. That's where I want you to always be. I didn't know. Again, just use a zigzag stitch for this, and don't sew completely around. You want to leave a gap so that you can take your elastic out, like I'll show you very shortly, and measure it to fit you. Okay, so once I've sewn my channel around the waistband, I'm just taking the elastic out, just checking all the stitches look nice and neat, and then I'm going to re-thread the elastic back through. And how I do this is I attach a safety pin to one end, and I push the safety pin through the channel and basically bring it all the way around to the other side, so that I can then pull the two ends of the elastic out, try the skirt on, and then hold the elastic where I want it to be to fit my waist. Summer rains turn to winter snow, but I promise you for sure, girl, my love is always yours. As you can see, I've just tried it on and I've got it to where I'm comfortable with, so I'm going to sew this now. I like to sew a square onto the elastic, just to really hold it in place, again using a zigzag stitch. Every stitch you'll use for this skirt, I would recommend using a zigzag stitch because of the stretch of the jersey fabric. Once you've got that elastic sewn together and you're happy with how the elastic's sitting in the waistband, just sew up the gap that you previously left to mess around with the elastic with. And now we're on to the final step. Just lay your skirt flat, and once again, just check how long you want it. So I actually made mine way too long. So I'm just cutting the hem. I like to cut it nice and curved because I think the overall drape of the skirt looks nice when it's curved kind of lowest in the bottom. But if you want to cut it straight across, that would look nice too. It's completely up to you. Last thing to do is fold the hem on the bottom once or twice and just sew that in place again with a zigzag stitch. Are you getting tired of hearing the word zigzag stitch yet? And there you have it. That is your finished midi skirt. As you can see, really simple. Anyone can do it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe, and happy sewing. I hope your midi skirt is everything that you've hoped for.